Hello and welcome to another KKP Untitled Showcase special. Well, not really special, it's like a weekly thing we do. It's a little podcast, video podcast, where we talk about what we have been doing for the week, gaming-wise, and coverage, and what we've been doing back and forth. Maybe even some anime as well in the mix. I'm your host, Mr. Toffee, and joining me is Lewis as well. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, doing good. We've both of us have actually had to go out and touch some grass recently.
We did.
The games that we're reviewing.
Yeah, we should talk about you first. So, what kind of grass has you been touching? Like the anime kind or the video game kind?
Yeah, the anime kind. A mall here in Malaysia, Wanutama, they had a pop-up shop open up in collaboration with Haikyuu, the volleyball anime. Now this is a pop-up that was really intriguing to me. I'm a massive Haikyuu fan. It's one of the only animes that I've watched that has actually gotten me on my feet and cheering like it's an actual sports anime, and that's coming from somebody who's watched and read Slam Dunk and Blue Lock and a lot of the modern sports animes. Haikyuu has a very special place in my heart, so I was extremely excited for the chance to go and see how it is. It was going to be, I didn't have really high expectations. It's a pop-up shop after all. It's not going to be there long. It's only running until the 4th of May. And technically today is the official start of it. It has been open for 2 days, but they didn't really consider it the official days like that they're open to the public. So you pull up there, they have official anime, they have official Haikyuu merchandise. I think the clothes and keychains and stuff like that are sold at a premium, but then again these are official merchandise that comes from Japan, which is very hard to come by.
Yes, I'll bet. Yes, but
yeah.
How's the price though? I mean, that's actually the thing because of import tax and everything.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it is a little bit on the pricey side, but if you're a massive weeb and knowing how weebs and otakus are, they spend a boatload on just anime memorabilia, right? So unfortunately I didn't buy anything that time around. I might go back again soon, when maybe towards the end of the month, once the paycheck comes in and everything, and maybe spend a little bit there. But they have the iconic Karasuno jacket that they all wear. They've also got little plushies of the two main characters, Kageyama and Hinata. And then they also have life-size cutouts of the characters, so you can kind of get a gist of how tall they actually would be in real life, which is something that for a sport like volleyball it's very interesting to see, because I didn't realize how much taller I was than Hinata, for example, who's supposed to be
a size scale thing, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was just great. But that wasn't nearly the most interesting part. The most impressive and interesting part of it all was the fact that they actually have a volleyball court at the back of it, an actual to scale volleyball court where they had a show match. Between, I believe it was Sunway University and Selangor's official volleyball team.
Oh, so who won?
Selangor, I think it was 3. I think they won 3-0. I think game 2 was really close. That was 25-23. But the other two were kind of single-handedly Selangor's games.
Okay. Was it a very intense one? I mean, you said one-sided, but was it
Oh yeah, definitely. These are places. I used to play volleyball as well back in high school. So it holds, the sport holds a very special place in my heart as well. And getting to see it again was the intensity of it all, and seeing people go for spikes and whatnot it made me kind of miss playing volleyball. That's how it kind of intense, and even though it was a friendly match as well, these guys were far from taking it seriously, but just the prowess of it all was really, really impressive, and it garnered such a large crowd when it started happening as well, because it's a volleyball match happening in the middle of a mall. Of course it is.
It's gonna have to be family friendly and fun, because that kind of setting does not instill life drama compared to doing it on the volleyball court, or for basketball,
Yeah.
the basketball court, or this
Yeah.
national stadium kind of level. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's the reason why they're doing all of this as well is because Wonitama is also holding a volleyball tournament, literally starting today, going through to the 20th, and that they've got just a bunch of like kind of amateur teams, like from the local volleyball leagues. So like I believe. Trying to think of a lot of them are like not necessarily like geolocated area teams, but I think one of them is Petaling Jaya's one.
Petaling Jaya,
So, yeah.
yep.
Yeah. So but yeah, other than that, yeah, it was honestly great. It was a great time. The people there were really nice, of course, and yeah, like there's so much. You can spend like easily an hour just like if there's a game on as well, easily an hour just there. I think one
Just to
thing I
watch
was
and
surprised.
cheer on and to see the skills.
Yeah, because it's also in partnership as well with Connelly, which is a sports brand that I had completely forgotten about. I'm not too sure how big it was here, but back in Kuching, it was your go-to kind of like if you needed cheap sports gear, you would go to Connelly. But yeah, I haven't heard of them since I was about 15. I thought they were a company that kind of folded. But yeah, no, it's good to see them kicking. I remember, I think my first pair of running shoes were Connelly. So
I think budget sports goods do have like a long lifespan, because there's going to always be young children who want to play sports but cannot obviously buy a Nike or a Adidas or a Reebok. So
yeah, because
they're
they're gonna grow out of it.
Yeah. And grow out of it. Yes, that's also the obvious thing too. Yeah. But yeah, glad you had fun with that. So for my end, not exactly video game related, but I bought new furniture here to put in all of my video game collectibles and memorabilia. So we have right here is a new one I just purchased. So I forgot to tell you the story about this character, Adol, from the Yeast series. This version is from Yeast 8, Lacrimosa of Dana. So I actually ordered this last year. I believe it's around my birthday. I've only received it like a couple of weeks ago because customs held onto it for quite a while. I did not get any email or whatnot about like this getting, being on hold at Post Malaysia. So I actually had to pay a custom fee. I only got the mail about that on March, and this thing actually arrived on February. So it was basically in storage in Post Malaysia from February until March, until I got the official email about, hey, it's the customs, please pay the custom tax for it, which I did, and everything. That's how I ended up getting it. So it's the easiest thing to set up, and it's really detailed too. But again, I won't suggest buying anything this large in the future unless you want to get taxed. So and the crazy thing is, I actually have another one of these coming up. Not the same character, of course. The other character in the Yeast 8 game, Dana. She's this tall lady. She is actually one of the main characters in part 8. She actually fights. She doesn't fight alongside Adol, but she plays in an alternate. I guess you could say, as Adol goes to bed and sleep, he dreams about the past and dreams about this girl, and you go through adventures with this girl. And she's a pivotal part of the game, which you'll find out later in the title. So that's it. And I guess another thing is, I checked out the Capcom pop-up store at Lalaport. You got any questions about that? Maybe we can start that, and then we can just...
I mean, yeah, it looked phenomenal. I saw your video on it. I've seen... there was a bunch of other companies there as well, so I saw some of their videos as well, and it just looks phenomenal. I think one of my friends as well I was talking to him about the Haikyuu pop-up yesterday, and he was like, oh, did you know about the Capcom one? I was like, yeah, I was meant to go to that, but because, this... Unfortunately, they were happening at the same time. Like, we had to, conquer the divide.
One or the other, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, unfortunately, I didn't get to go to that one, but yeah, it looked great. Like, the figurines, like, it just looked amazing. But yeah, how was it overall for you?
Okay, I'm talking in two perspectives, i.e. one person who's been to Tokyo quite a bit for work, and two, through the perspective of someone who yearns to have an official Capcom representation in Malaysia. So I'll start with the latter. As a latter, it's phenomenal, like you said. People who love Monster Hunter, people who love Resident Evil and Devil May Cry, they're gonna find a lot to like the plushies. I believe they're called Cat Koros. So here's one I bought from Ace Attorney. This is Athena Sykes. Here's one you can't actually get, unfortunately, because this is Morrigan from Darkstalkers. You can't get this because it's only in the Tokyo store.
Right. Okay.
So
okay.
I'll just show off the one you can actually get like right now. So it's happening from yesterday on the 17th? Yeah, 17th until Easter Sunday. So yeah.
Okay.
So the entire Good Friday weekend, basically, it's happening. So I did add a little quote that apparently Capcom's acting as merchandise messiah for the entire week. So people can go buy this stuff here and there. So
Okay.
for Resident Evil side, you got like the letterheads, which are basically from Umbrella Corporation, and a couple of notepads, you know, the kinds you actually find in a hospital, you know, because
Yeah.
Resident Evil and all that, clinics, pharmacies, pharmaceutical company and everything. And a lot, I mean, some of the plushies you can find, you got like statues of Monster Hunter monsters like Zinogre, and a couple of others, and some of the trademark monsters here and there from Monster Hunter 3G, and a lot of others, and yeah, a lot of spots you can take photos at. You got Street Fighter, I guess, acrylic stand-ins for Street Fighter 6 characters,
Okay. Yeah.
and just a lot more of these. I mean, I couldn't find any big statues of Street Fighter characters like the ones you see at the back, you know, like from other games of those caliber. Only Monster Hunter ones, but everything else from the stuff that's from the official Capcom store in Tokyo, yeah, that's fine for you to get and everything. So they're priced reasonable, I guess, for imports, and plus it's a limited time store, so you gotta go there from now until this Sunday afternoon, otherwise it's gone forever.
Okay.
The organizers Just Dance said that hopefully if this reception for this pop-up store is good, you might have new ones happening in the far future. Not just for Capcom, maybe for like something specific, like maybe an Onimusha launch, or maybe a new Monster Hunter expansion launch. Who knows?
Okay.
But it is promising, considering that the lineup from yesterday's show was very, very long. Because there was like a huge lineup, like it's one of those segmented lineups where basically it reaches all the way to the end of Lalaport's exit entrance. But segmented because they don't want to block the walkway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I predict this is gonna happen a lot more on the weekends because I won't say it's a public holiday today, but you know, some people do take day offs because it's Good Friday. As we're recording on this day, Good Friday, just for a bit.
Yeah.
Hence the Cult of the Lamb t-shirt. Cults and religion and whatnot. Yeah. But apart from that, yes, the Capcom store is good to visit. If you've been to the one in Tokyo a lot, then it's about the same. It's just
Okay.
It's just the pop-up store in Malaysia is wider because it's actually on the concourse, bigger stage.
Yeah.
Whereas the one in Tokyo is a bit smaller. But beyond that, I've played a lot of embargoed games, which I can't talk about. And
As have I, yeah.
Yep. And that's about it on my end. Although I can mention that I played 30 minutes of the last Epoch's new season. I'm starting on Rogue. It's pretty fun so far, although it's still really, really early. I think all the updates for the end game only will pop up after 3-4 hours after you completed the main campaign and everything.
Yeah.
So I've heard a lot of good things. I mean, I saw the presentations, I saw the video from the developers that the last Epoch has a lot of like nice updates happening for. And plus, I think the biggest change is you can change your masteries this time. So let's just say you pick one mastery. In the first season and the previous base game, you couldn't change it. You pick one mastery, you're locked to it.
Okay.
This time, you can spend a bit of extra gold to change your mastery. So what I'm gonna do is just go through as a Falconeer. And then once I get to level 60 to 70, I'm going to change to Marksman, because that's a new skill that is called Heartseeker for Marksman. I think you have to be level 30 Marksman to get it. It's you shoot arrows that hits enemies once, and then they basically recurve back.
Okay.
Like a homing missile for a single target.
Alright, yeah.
There are many upgrades for this. Like once you specialize it, there are many upgrades that even let you like have it pierce a lot as you're shooting it, or have multiple ones popping up.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I might do some sort of like Macross, like 1,000 arrows coming out from my bow, except Heartseeker style. I'm assuming that could happen in this game, but I'll find out later, maybe in a couple of hours or until the end of the week, in between my embargoed content and whatnot.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I didn't play much, just wrapping up things here and there. I'm guessing on your side it's mostly just a Haikyuu visit.
Yeah, I do a lot of video editing, and yeah, so I haven't really had the chance to a lot of video editing, writing, so I haven't had the chance to really like indulge in some casual gaming per se.
Oh, you can
This
also
week, at
talk
least.
about the Corsair headset you reviewed.
Oh yeah. So Corsair were kind enough to send us their brand new Void Wireless V2 gaming headset, which you can find the review over on our website. It's a good headset. It's I think nowadays there's always like a for how like kind of household names in the gaming scene, like say Corsair, Razer, Logitech, SteelSeries. There's a certain like level that you expect from them, right?
Yeah,
Sorry,
pretty much.
I've got, like
pretty much.
cat hair in my mouth.
Oh, cats! Damn it!
Yeah.
Getting
But
sabotaged
yeah.
by the cat every single weekend, man.
Yeah, no, I actually need to clean my house. It's covered in fur. But yeah, I digress. Yeah, it's a good headset for. I will admit I'm not the biggest fan of the shape. To me, I've never been a big fan of gaming headsets that look like gaming headsets. For example, like these are the Logitech G Pros, the original wired ones. And these kind of, I've always liked the look of these because these kind of look like pilot's headphones.
Yep,
And same goes for the Razer Black Shark as well. They look like pilot's headphones as well. So I've always liked that aesthetic. The SteelSeries always, to me, will always be like the most versatile ones. You can always just head on out and wear them as if they're just regular like Bose or like Sony XM4s or whatever. So SteelSeries are probably the kings of that one, but yeah, Corsair is good. It's passable. They met the standard of their kind of what I expect from them, and yeah, if you're in the market for a reasonably priced headset, roughly it's 129 US. So after conversions, what's that? Leaning towards just over 600, 700 ringgit. Because there's no prices here in Malaysia, at least, localized at least. Yeah, you're looking at around 600, 700 ringgit. So if you're in the market for something like that,
man,
then you can go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that kind of price range you can find like equally better ones. Who knows?
Yeah.
Let's see. I think that was something I was going. Oh yeah, right. I totally forgot. We've got the Shuhei Yoshida interview. In case you missed that.
Yeah.
We did mention a bit about that last week, but the video actually came out on Monday, so that's a bit. I should just promote it right here. Shuhei Yoshida, our exclusive interview. I had like almost an hour talking to the guy. Really cool stuff. A lot of insights I've learned here and there about PlayStation and the hardware and game stuff, and even indie titles and whatnot. And also, we split up the video a bit here and there, so we got like a 10-minute or 6-minute chunks of the interview in our section as well, so you can check those out in case you want to cherry pick things. In fact, the 50 to an hour interview itself has like a lot of like timestamps, so you can check which sections you want to check out in case you cannot sit through all of it. So go check that out.
Yep.
And oh yeah, I actually watched a couple of Black Mirror episodes, the video game ones, basically.
Okay.
I believe there were like 6 of them. So there was one of them which actually kind of went back to the Bandersnatch episode in a way, because they brought back the creator and the producer of the video game company that had Bandersnatch. So it was that Mo Salah, not Mo Salah, it was the British Indian Muslim guy. He was in this show called The Franchise. That actor, the main director for that guy. And then The Franchise on HBO, I think. Yeah, that guy. He was actually in the British Airways.
Hamish Patel?
I think it's that. Is it? No.
You know the actor in it.
Hamish Patel is thinner. I think it's the bigger guy. He was in the British Airways commercial. I remember. He was the guy who was interviewing the stars like Gillian Anderson, Patrick Stewart, and all that. Trust me, you go on YouTube, you'll find out. I think it'll pop up eventually.
Okay.
And it also had Will Poulter. He's basically the game developer, but then the focus is on, how do you say, at the time they created this game that had like a lot of it's like The Sims per se, but with little creatures and whatnot for like your PCs back in the 90s and everything. And then how it actually goes back to the past and in the present, where this guy actually was being interrogated by a detective and a psychiatrist on why he actually stole a bottle of beer, because he wanted to talk about his experience as a child and everything, and about
Right.
involving this video game, which
Right,
involves taking care of little creatures, and then they communicate with him and everything. It's
Okay.
definitely serious, very dramatic, and shows like, yeah, games can go beyond, just play and everything, according to the Will Poulter's character. And the last episode of that particular Black Mirror season is the USS. Basically, it's like the USC. It's basically a spoof on Star Trek. It's a continuation of a particular episode in the previous Black Mirror, the Callister, the USS Callister. It's a continuation of that episode. So it's basically the fallout of what happened to those characters who got out, who were cloned into the game, and they got out of prison from the creator of the game.
Okay.
And then it's basically just a future after a couple of a year or so after that incident.
Okay.
So now those characters are wandering out in space, and then they try their best to go back, like trying to survive, and then they're trying their best to maybe find a way to get into the nexus of the particular MMO to create their own pocket universe where they can live in peace. And that also involves the real world and I guess the scumbag producer who made the game in the real life world, and also the one who actually made the clone. How do you say the template of the clone, the original character?
Yeah.
Who actually is the programmer who's still working in the company still.
Okay.
So it's a riveting watch, and that's actually about 1 hour 30 minutes of it. Really good stuff. Really good stuff.
Alright.
I didn't get to watch the rest of the episodes because I was actually more focused on the video game ones. So I just went around with that.
Yeah, I've heard mixed reviews about the overall season, and I don't blame them.
It's all over the
because-
place, definitely.
Yeah, it's like, when you're doing essentially the same concept for 7 seasons, where it's like, here's what tech can do if in the wrong hands or if not used wisely.
Yeah. I think the first episode of this season was pretty dark. It's the one where you're trying to keep your wife alive through a subscription service.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
okay,
it's as fucked up as his thing.
Yeah.
Rashida Jones is the wife, and the guy from IT Crowd is not Moss, the one, Garrett. That actor. Chris O'Dowd. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Chris O'Dowd is the husband, and that's pretty fucked up. Yes, that's a fucked up episode. Man, how does this slip my mind? Because it was pretty dark. That's why.
Yeah.
But I can tell you the last season was actually very off kilter because there was one episode involving Satan and the apocalypse, and one involving werewolves. I can tell you that last season was kind of all over the place. So that's why that's why this season went back to basics.
Right.
Yeah, I think the creator, Charlie Brooker, wanted to go off kilter. He wanted to make his own fantasy show, I guess, through Black Mirror. So wanted to get away from tech a little bit. So I think that's why he did season 7. So now season 8 is kind of going back to basics, and I think people have mixed reviews because they thought, it's the same as past season 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, like the golden age of Black Mirror, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. But I still had a good time watching it because they're not supposed to be laughing at some of these anyway. It gets pretty dark and serious. So I had an enlightening time with the show, with the episodes I've seen so far. Haven't come across any stinkers yet.
Yeah.
So
Alright. Well, yeah, that sounds great. But I guess we should move over to some news then, shouldn't we?
Oh, another short pop. Witch Watch on Netflix. That's also a good watch.
Oh yeah, I saw you
Did
did
you see that?
you did the was it all references and Easter eggs? I heard
For the second episode, yeah.
Yeah, there must be a lot then if you dedicate an entire video to just one episode of it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's about this girl, a witch, who came back to her childhood town and to her childhood friend after a year being in the witch academy. So she's coming back to real life and tries to adjust. It's a comedy show, so hijinks ensues. So she basically tried to make her friend's head, I'm not sure, tried to make his eraser big because his eraser was he was actually taking notes and then kind of rubbed it, kind of used the eraser by accident and it kind of comes off. That's how these mechanical pencils sometimes, they don't work as intended, right?
Yeah.
So she wanted to do something good, cast an ambiguous spell on the eraser and start targeting his head. So Hijinxes ensue, yes.
Okay.
And also
okay.
targeting herself when she's getting called at. So she ends up
Okay.
becoming a giant titan. And it's a Kyojin and all that, yeah. So there are
Okay.
references to Attack on Titan in some sense here and there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a wholesome show, basically. It's a comedy, very, very happy-go-lucky kind of show. Because the childhood friend is a serious ogre guy named crap, I forgot his name. But he's a human he's an ogre disguising as a human.
Okay.
So he's super strong.
right.
And
okay,
he ends up becoming familiar to the girl witch. And
Okay.
they got a thing going on, they're friends, and then the girl has a crush on the guy. And obviously the guy is too oblivious to figure it out. So it's a natural kind of comedy thing going on. So
Yeah. Okay.
but I like the art style. I like how the comedy goes and lands, and I like how the animation is. So it's gonna
Yeah.
be like a weekly watch for me, that's for sure.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I can say the same for Lazarus because that show has some nice action scenes. It's made from the people who did Cowboy Bebop, but there is a
Yeah.
bit of soul missing. Like I
Right,
don't really
okay.
care about the Alberto character, even though I remember his name. But I actually do want to see the hijinxes of the witch and the boy in Witch Watch. So
Okay.
that tells you a lot about what kind of shows I would like, you know.
Yeah.
There's some character in Witch Watch, despite the fact that it's hitting all the tropes that I've known and been familiar with. I guess the same can be said for Dan Dan Dan. Like, some of this stuff is familiar, but the way they handle it is just so over the top. It's insane.
Yeah. Definitely. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think you should bump up the review you did. Maybe give it a 9 or a 10, but that's just me, man. That's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
I think. Yeah.
You think?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I probably will have to revisit it again properly. Like, and I plan on giving Dan like a full rewatch because I don't really remember much of like what happened towards the end of it. So definitely will revisit it eventually.
July is coming soon. They're gonna have the second season.
Yeah, so probably in anticipation for that.
Yep. All right. So, like you said, let's get to news. So maybe you want to talk about the big one about Marathon.
Yeah. So so a lot of info came out on Marathon, be it trailers, gameplay reveals, overviews, cinematic trailers. Which, by the way, have you seen the cinematic trailer for Marathon?
I did. That was actually pretty cool. This is like the movie, like secret level, like
Yeah.
trailer.
It's insane. So apparently, the person working on it, I think his name is Alfredo I can't remember his name.
He
He's
did
worked
the Love,
on-
Death, and Robots. Yes.
Yeah, he did Love, Death, and Robots. And it's phenomenal. Honestly, okay, because
Go on.
I didn't know I didn't know about the cinematic trailer until like a couple days after. So I went back to check it out and stuff like that. And wow, yeah, I understand why there is such a dichotomy in the reception of Marathon, because like if you just watch the gameplay trailer and the gameplay reveal alone, you're like, okay, it's another extraction shooter. It kind of looks a bit, colors look a bit like flat, a little bit jarring, like given how wide the spectrum of colors that they use are. Be it like it's like a very dull palette, and then you have just some random bright colors in there every now and again. Like accents and whatnot. And then also, yeah, just like graphically as well, it kind of, it's not underwhelming per se, it's a different art direction that you expect it to go in, given the initial impressions of it and the original teaser for it as well. But it feels very toyish in a way. It doesn't feel as serious as you would kind of expect it, especially after watching the cinematic trailer for it, which just is insane. Like, the reception for the cinematic trailer is completely well deserved. It's an amazing trailer. It's probably one of the best cinematic trailers I've seen in recent times. And I understand the hate going towards it if people are moving from the cinematic trailer to the gameplay trailer, because it's night and day.
It's very
crazy.
evident in the comments of the cinematic trailer that
says
that
definitely.
Yeah, and it's like an antithesis of the gameplay that we've seen so far. Now, I've seen a couple of previews. They did say that the shooting and all that feels really good in the game, but they all echo the same sentiment. Is this enough to keep this game alive from its September 24th or 23rd release for the next 6 months following after?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? I feel like that's always going to be a worry for live service games in this day and age. You know, we think in recent day we think of like games like Concord, for example, shooters that just really didn't
Shroud,
just hit the
the one
mark.
you kind of liked.
Yeah, like it, it can be. It doesn't matter if the gameplay is good, but if it isn't like, I guess universally loved in a sense, it won't. It won't survive, right? And that is something that I do worry about. This is that it's a game that you have to pay for, whereby
Premium price.
yeah, you have to pay a premium price for it, and you kind of by the looks of it, it sounds like it's going to be a Destiny 1 situation where it's like you're, it's not exactly the finished game, like it's not the antithesis of what it could be, and it's, they kind of, you're paying to kind of be a play tester in a sense, is probably the best way to put it, and it's just like, hey, you can kind of fix that narrative if you slap on an early access like title on that, or
or a closed beta, like
a closed beta
from Tarkov has been for a while.
Exactly. Like, just take a page out of Escape from Tarkov's book. It's such a beloved game, and no one gives it shit because it's technically still in beta. It's like, it's they can there's so much they could do to kind of avoid like, I guess, backlash and controversy, but like they're kind of refusing to do it at the moment. That said, I'm not the most familiar with extraction shooters, even though shooters are my forte. I think the last one I played was the Exoborn playtest. That was an extremely hard game to play. That one's extremely punishing. That was also my first extraction shooter as well, so like I was getting thrown into the deep end there. But the gameplay was really good with that. I think I would enjoy this one a lot more because it's, first person. I have roots in Halo as well. Like the Halo was my first proper FPS game and stuff like that as well. And be it Bungie's developing this, I do notice it looks a lot more like Destiny than it would ever do Halo. Destiny as well is a game that I have enjoyed. I haven't sunk too much time. I think I have maybe about 50 hours in it, I think, over the course of however long it's been out. But yeah, it looks like it's gonna be it's gonna be one that you kind of have to sit and like kind of stick with them, and over time I feel like you'll get rewarded for sticking with them. It's just whether or not they'll get kind of closed down or sunsetted before it happens. It is a curious one, to be honest. I definitely think that this is I know a lot of people would rather have the IP of Marathon kind of stay dead, kind of let it sit as a single player game,
or be a single player remake at the very least.
Or be a single player remake. But I think I do think it's an interesting utilization of a unique IP that is beloved by a lot of fans. I don't think it's it's a weird one. We're gonna have to wait and see how it is, and there's really no telling, because their games nowadays, it's so hard to tell whether it's gonna be an instant flop or if it's gonna be one of those extremely slow burners. When with like these, I guess, essentially AAA studio games, right?
Well, this being this definitely going to be a AAA game for sure, and
yeah.
I've had two sides of the coin for this in terms of opinion, because I played a lot of Destiny back in the day. I played Halo 1, 2, 3, and Reach. It's, how do you say, the old team of Bungie, they're all gone. Luke Smith, everyone, all involved. They're involved with Destiny 2's high points. They're all gone. So it's an entirely new Bungie developer studio working on Marathon, a game that I don't know who actually wanted per se as an extraction shooter more than a single player campaign game a la Doom, the reboot. Maybe it could have gone that route, but at the same time, maybe if they put it as an early access game, it could work out. Like 24 September, early access, pay money for it, develop the game as you go along, and then it can become a better game in the next year or the after 2 years or so. But as a finished product, in that sense, it's Yeah, I don't have any high hopes for this, if I'm being honest here. I mean, despite how great the game might end up, is it even going to survive? That's especially with the new team that's handling the new Bungie right now. Because they gone through a lot of like flag in terms of leadership last year and the year prior.
Yeah, well, I mean, Marathon's just been rumored allegedly to be in development hell as well. Just like it's. I think the most common like term that's been used to describe the development is troubled. So you know it's going to be interesting because you know I think to me the silver lining is looking at the cinematic trailer. If they have the ability to kind of apply that same passion in it all that they did with the cinematic trailer and like go in that kind of that direction in terms of narrative and be able to kind of replicate that into the gameplay over time, I feel like then in time it could become something that's definitely worth sticking by. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I believe it was Ziegler that said it, just Ziegler that said it, but this isn't a game for Destiny fans. It is trying to cater to a brand new fan base.
New people, basically. New players, people as well. People like first-person shooters.
Yeah, so that's completely understandable as well, and it's a risk at the end of the day. It's a big really risk that both Bungie and PlayStation are taking with this, we'll only find out the result in time, right?
All right, here's a piece of news you might be interested in. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remake using the Unreal Engine 5 engine is set to be released on the week of 21st April. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I mean, Oblivion, I've spent so many hours playing Oblivion. It was one of my favorite games. It's the whole reason why I enjoy role-playing games in general. You immerse yourself, you kind of become your character, and nobody does it like the Bethesda. I will always be a Bethesda fanboy. Like, you know, I gave Starfield 100 out of 100. In hindsight, it was probably like I should have given it a 90 realistically. But
no, that's fair. I played a lot of Starfield to say that I kind of wish there were no loading screens, but at the same time, I had my fantasy of being a space pirate, and it was fun.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just kind of it was a new direction, but to me, the Elder Scrolls will always have a special place in my heart because I've always loved that kind of fantasy, that environment, and the universe that they've built around it as well is so in depth. There's so many podcasts that go in depth on the lore of the Elder Scrolls universe. I've listened to almost every single one of them, and it's. Yeah, the universe that they've built is absolutely incredible. So, for Oblivion to be remade is definitely something that I am curious about because Sky Oblivion is a Skyrim mod that has been in development for I'll probably say about 9 years.
8 years? Holy shit! Okay.
I might be wrong. It might be close to 7. I'm trying to remember because I found out about Sky Oblivion back in 2019.
So to combine the two continents, Tamriel and Skyrim, is it?
So there's two different ones. So there's there's a mod which I do want to talk about as well, which is essentially you get to explore Cyrodiil and pretty much the entire landscape of Oblivion. The entire landscape of Oblivion during Skyrim's timeline. So it's post Martin Septon kind of sacrificing himself, post pretty much all the what do you call it, the end of the Septim Empire essentially. And Mehrunes Dagon kind of invading Syria, the land of Tamriel. It takes place during Skyrim's timeline, so you get to see kind of the aftermath of all that. But that's not affiliated with Bethesda at all. That is all fan made, and they just try to be as lore accurate as possible and kind of just reimagine what Cyrodiil would be like right now, given the tidbits of information that we've been given in Skyrim. Sky Oblivion is the remake of Oblivion using the Skyrim engine. So that's been in development for a very, very long time. They've, I think, they are currently, I believe they're almost done. I think they are 80% done, if I recall, if that's the right number I remember from the last update. Okay, I think they did a dev diary back in beginning of March, if I'm not mistaken, and I listened to it a bit. But I just find it interesting that like with that being in the making, kind of Bethesda's come and kind of just beat them to it essentially. Like that's been in development for 8 years, and pretty much a remake of Oblivion in Skyrim's engine, and then Bethesda's just come in and swooped in and like, hey, we've already finished.
We're gonna shadow drop it eventually this month.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna be checking it out. It looks really good.
At the very least, if something bad were to happen to the remake, the official one, the mod will still be around, hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'll definitely look forward to that.
I would like to check that out, the remake, soon as well. I think it might be a Game Pass free game, who knows? So
I mean, it would make the most sense for it to be. Most Bethesda games nowadays would be. You would assume they would be.
And it is probably a litmus test to see how people would fare towards the remake, Oblivion, Cyrodiil, right? If I recall.
Yeah, Cyrodiil. Yeah.
Yeah, the country of Cyrodiil. See how it goes, and if people like it, then the next one, which is probably going to be the desert land of Hammerfell, right? Is it?
Yeah, well, it's I think it's rumored to be High Rock and Hammerfell.
High Rock and Hammerfell.
Yeah, 2 nations this time.
Then the new one will be on the new engine. That's probably good. This remake's gonna be a litmus test. See how it would fare and work, and see what bugs they can fix and all that before they get to Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, which I'm still waiting.
Yeah, which will still probably be buggy, that's for sure, but they'll fix most of it based on the lessons they learned from the remake.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, it's not a Bethesda game with a little bit of jank, right?
Yeah. And the jank makes it fun, honestly.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. And although maybe people are burned out by Star Wars, EA has announced a new Star Wars turn-based strategy game called Star Wars Zero Company. So we're gonna see gameplay this weekend, which we'll talk about next week.
Okay.
But right now, as it stands, they showed a picture of it. It's a rebel commander or maybe a former Imperial character leading a Jedi. I'm guessing it's a rogue Jedi without a master. You've got a guy wearing a spacesuit, I guess, covering himself like the glass dome, like Buzz Lightyear's outfit, like a spacesuit. And I believe you've got a Mandalorian and a rogue stormtrooper joining you. A clone trooper. I remember that's an outfit. That's a clone trooper outfit you see in the prequels. So that gives me an inkling of what kind of game to expect. If it's turn-based, I'm gonna assume every character has their own mechanics. Like Mandalorian, they're very combat savvy. Maybe if they don't attack, they lose they probably accumulate attack points or something. Who knows? Maybe the more attacks you do, the more advantage you're in. And if you're a clone trooper, I guess you're better at defensive and being in formation, I guess. Okay. I'm gonna assume that this game will bring in Overwatch. I mean, again, this could be prediction, like Overwatch mechanics from the Gears Tactics game, or some stuff from XCOM per se, where you're behind cover, you'll be fine mostly.
Okay.
So maybe the Stormtrooper might be more helpful when he's behind enemy lines. If it's up close to enemies, he'll probably die faster.
Yeah, okay.
And as a Jedi, it's probably the opposite. If he's up close combat, he'll win.
Yeah.
And when it comes to defending himself from oncoming fire, he can use the Force.
Yeah.
Or because maybe he's a Padawan, his Force skills are kind of limited, so they have higher cooldown turns. So you gotta wait a couple of turns until he can use his Force powers again.
Yeah.
There's some predictions here and there. So in any case, I'm not sure which part of the timeline is going to happen, but again, I'm not a big XCOM guy, but I did enjoy a lot of Gears Tactics. I did enjoy Marvel Midnight Suns, the one from 2K Games. And I played one called Shadow Road, which is basically samurais.
Okay.
Except Oni and magic shit in turn-based combat form. That game was pretty fun. I only played like an hour of it because that was how long the demo was. Really cool stuff. And each character have different mechanics. So if Star Wars Zero Company needs to stand out, each character needs to have their own mechanic and whatnot.
Yeah.
Is this something you're interested in?
I'm not the biggest fan of turn-based, to be honest. I mean, I that's definitely something I think the only turn-based I ever play, I ever willingly play, is Pokemon. I think the only other one that's on my radar right now is probably Clair Obscur.
Oh yeah, that looks like an awesome game. They had a lot of trailers coming out to promote the voice actors.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
the funniest
it's like
one.
starts with the cast and everything.
Yeah, I think
so,
the funniest one
yeah.
is Ben Starr, where he said, "I play Verso," and then when he looks at the director, he says, "No," and then when it goes back to Ben Starr, like, he's nobody. And then it cuts to the end of the the end of the video. So we can expect some awesome things from Verso. I mean, from his character. Who knows? Again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that is a game you look. I mean, you played the preview anyway, right? So
Yeah, I played the preview. Yeah, so
yeah, looking forward to the
yeah.
full game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe one more news to cap off this segment. Anything you want to bring up? Like, I think
Yeah,
you
I mean,
right?
I mean, I can do a little bit of two here. I can actually we can talk about a VTuber finally graduating.
Ooh, who is it?
GAWR GURA, from HoloLive. I'm so okay. English HoloLive VTubers, especially from this generation, are pretty much the only VTubers that I'm somewhat familiar with because I used to watch Mori Calliope. So I am somewhat familiar with like this generation, like Watson Amelia and obviously GAWR GURA, who's the front, like the face of this generation of HoloLive English VTubers. And yeah, she announced her kind of graduation, which her graduation stream will be on the 1st of May. Now, she cites that this is due to kind of a difference of kind of, I guess, creative differences, you could sum it up
managerial issues, I guess. Management issues.
Well, verbatim, she says it's disagreements with management and creative direction. So you know, it was already quite rare to see her go live. I don't think I've ever once tuned into one of her streams, like while she's live, only VODs and whatnot. But yeah, now she took a very long break. I think her last one was in February, if I'm not mistaken. Her last stream was in February.
Damn.
So she's taken a break since then. And yeah, it's one of those things. It's, you know, it's unfortunate that it's under these circumstances. I'm surprised that she was allowed to go out and state that it was due to kind of creative differences, and you know, it just because usually from my experience, you don't really get to hear much about like why they're graduating, right? But this time, yeah, she came and said, I disagree with the management. I didn't like how things were being run. I don't like the direction that HoloLive's going, so I want out. So there's definitely going to be a non-compete for a while. I don't think we'll see anything from whoever's behind the VTuber model for a while, but I think it's very possible that maybe in a year's time we get to see maybe the return of Senzawa, who is allegedly
the voice behind GARU.
The voice behind the persona of the voice behind GAWR GURA. So we'll have to wait and see. But this is on the tail end of a bunch of HoloLive VTubers leaving the agency.
That is sad news. Yeah.
Series Fauna and Nanashi Mume as well.
They're leaving, is it, or they already left?
They've already left.
Oh, okay, already left. Damn.
Yeah, so
sad news.
You know, I think, you know, the days of HoloLive dominating the VTuber space is kind of coming to a close. To be fair, we've already been in that era for a while. You know, with agencies like VShojo that run like channels like Iron Mouse, for example, and
Niji-san is another one.
Yeah. So it's like with those kind of more creator-based agencies where it's like they get more say in what they do, I think we'll start to see like kind of a rise more in those types of agencies. But yeah, it's unfortunate. GAWR is definitely a household name in the
she is scene. I mean, I don't watch that many VTubers, and even I know who she is. That's how big she is. Like, I featured her I think the only time I've actually looked up at her stuff is for the VTuber episode for main game.
The main game
year.
one, yeah.
That's pretty much it. And then when I saw her stuff, it's like, okay, she's got the karaoke thing going on, and she watches movies and all that, reacting to Jaws and everything. That's kind of cool, kind of cute. And also another one I've heard of is Mori, the one you mentioned earlier, Mori Calliope.
Mori Calliope. Yeah,
Calliope.
I know her because of Trash Taste. So like, she was featured on it twice, I think, and it's the first time a VTuber has been like they've had their model like. It's a mesh of real life and having the model there, and it's like, it's so sick. So yeah, that's the only reason why I know who she is, at least.
Do you know how I knew about her? Last year, the show that I covered, Suicide Squad Isekai, the ending theme for that show is her song, Go Getter.
Oh, okay, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, she did. Yeah, she produces so much music. As
Yeah,
well.
yeah. One of her tracks is Go Getter, which is in Suicide Squad Isekai, and that particular ending theme had one of the most stone-faced killers in the show dancing and twerking and whatnot. Amanda Waller from Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So if you actually seen her character, you know how dead serious she is, right? So to see her dancing in the music video is like all sorts of insane. So, man, this is gonna be a. I'm kind of hoping maybe GAWR GURA would have done some music for an anime, or maybe she did. I didn't know about it. Has she?
Not as of my knowledge. I'm not too sure how good her Japanese was either. I know Mori is good. Like she's almost fluent, and that's mainly because I know that she's based in Japan as well. But I don't know where Emilia Watson and GAWR GURA and like the rest of that generation are really based either.
Yeah. But you're right. It is an end of an era, and I guess we have to. I guess we salute them for the hard work and everything.
Yeah. But yeah, and then I guess moving on to a short last piece of news as well was a prototype rumor. So there's a rumor that there's possibly a reboot in the works, or possibly a sequel to Prototype 2. This comes from a report from Insider Gaming, where essentially it covers a Reddit post, which is now deleted, unfortunately.
Kind of proving that it might be true. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. The key point of this post is that they signed an NDA, so they must have found out, they must have seen it, and that's why the post was removed. But essentially, there's not too much that what the Reddit post entailed is that it's in the works, that they can't talk too much about it because of the NDA, but it's in the works essentially. So it was a post publicizing that there's possibly a prototype coming out. It's been 13 years since Prototype 2 dropped.
Yeah, I think the second prototype came out on Xbox 360. And PS3. I actually love the game. It's one of those open world. Did you play it a lot?
Yeah, so I never touched Prototype 2. I played Prototype 1 though, and it was one of the first PS3 games I've ever played.
It's a huge improvement, I'll tell you that. Part 2 is a huge improvement. If you can find a PC copy of it, play it.
Okay.
Yeah. And plus, Alex Mercer is a fucking villain. If you played the first game, you're like, why am I playing this asshole? I mean, is that supposed to be a good thing coming out of this? And then when you play the second game, it makes a lot more sense playing the character you're playing. Yeah, and then you'll find out in the first few cutscenes, you'll know why, more or less.
Yeah.
And it actually makes a hell of a lot of sense to play the second game. And plus, there are many confusing inputs for the first prototype where you had to press, the triangle and the X button would be really hard to do for certain combinations of your special moves when you unlock them further and further. Part 2, Prototype 2 streamlined all of that and made it much more flexible to play. And it's basically a huge improvement. It's a huge improvement. It's not a story that you take seriously, because every enemy in Prototype 2 is a comically evil villain who eats babies and burns villages down. Those kind of bad guys, yes.
Yeah, okay.
The Black Ops you fight against and all that all deserve to die, and you're basically the anti-hero for it.
Yeah. I don't know, I just remember being because I would have been about 7 when I played the first Prototype, because my stepbrother at the time, he had he was old enough to play it and whatnot, so he would just let me play it on his PS3.
Damn, and that's an M-rated game, by the way.
it was I don't know, I just found it so cool, the fact that he could kind of shapeshift his arms and shit, and he would just I'd be like, damn, I want to be like that.
And when you're flying, it actually has this blood spurting out as he glides.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for the longest time, on my very first PlayStation account, PSN account on PS3, I think it was Alex Mercer was my profile picture. Yeah. So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, he's a cool character to play. He's just not a hero. That's all. He's not a hero.
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't play enough of the story to find out kind of how and who he becomes. But yeah, I do recall. Yeah, he becomes the antagonist in Prototype 2. So I look forward to seeing where this, where this reboot will take place, kind of narratively as well, and just and see what they could do with the tech that we finally have now.
Oh yes, it will be really, really awesome if I will actually look forward
done
to
in
that.
Unreal Engine, like Unreal Engine 5, like with
None loading on new consoles. No loading and
Yeah.
whatnot. All open world spree shit going on.
yeah, I mean, like, I'm thinking of like how open like the new Spider-Man games are, right? And it's just like, imagine being able to just like
Murder the
maybe
shit out
not
of
yeah
people.
Alex Mercer or whatever, but like somebody who has those abilities just like going around like a city like New York again, and it's just like
Make a
Just-
game that earns its M rating, because I actually do miss. I mean, yes, you can. I am suggesting you play Prototype 2 when you can. That's. I think it should be on the cheap right now on PC, but yeah, I really long for the days when that 2000 style of gaming came back, where it earns its M rating, it's bloody as heck, and
yeah.
it just feels empowering just to play an anti-hero in this kind of setting. Because
Yeah.
as fun as Spider-Man is, I really would like to assimilate some of these asshole people I fight and whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, it's great. I mean, and also you could work around something about the pandemic and all that, because that happened in the first two prototypes where it's a
Oh
contagion
yeah, of
going
course.
on.
Actually, yeah. Like you could actually you could take from there as well. Yeah, that'd be really
Something
interesting.
happened with COVID, and it turns out that the thing that was on Alex Mercer's body mutated, and then you just happen to be a hapless victim. Try to play hero when you end up killing more people and saving them.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it would also be interesting to see kind of like let it be like a real time kind of like 13 years have also passed in that storylines game. So like what is the world's current state? Are there multiple people with these abilities now? Or like are they being weaponized? And there's a lot of different directions that they could take with it narratively. So I'm curious to see how, if it is true, where it could go and when it could come out as well.
Awesome. All right, I think that's it. We're gonna have to end the show. So thanks again for watching, everybody, and whatnot. And if you got anything you want to talk about us, you can talk on the comments and everything. Subscribe to our page, hit that notification icon and whatnot. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys then. And any parting words you want to say, Lewis?
No, just check out our reviews, our TikToks that we've done recently as well. Yeah, I guess we'll see you guys next week.